I've reported several times now on ever-increasing wait times in Canadian hospitals due to short staffing and patient overload. A new Fraser Institute report estimates that excessive wait times for medically necessary surgery and treatment cost $3.6 billion in lost wages and productivity for patients in 2022. In 2022, an estimated 1.23 million Canadians were on waiting lists for medical treatment, according to the study titled The Private Cost of Public Queues for Medically Necessary Care, released May 9th. The average wait time between seeing a specialist and receiving the treatment was 14.8 weeks, so the cost per patient was $2,925. In this conservative estimate, the time individuals spend waiting in a reduced capacity outside of the work week has no intrinsic value. That is to say, the study assumed a 40-hour work week and that only working hours had monetary value. Data for the report came from the Fraser Institute's yearly survey of Canadian physicians. According to the report, the additional wait of 12.6 weeks before seeing a specialist after a referral from a family doctor is also not included. Counting the wait to see a specialist, the total median wait time in Canada for medical treatment in 2022 was over 27 weeks, the longest wait time in the history of the annual report. The study also does not account for the cost of care borne by family members caring for the patient waiting for treatment, such as lost productivity due to difficulty or mental anguish, nor does the study include non-monetary medical costs, such as mortality risks or adverse events caused by long delays in treatment. As wait times and incomes vary by province, so did the cost of waiting for health care. Manitoba residents faced the highest cost of waiting at $4,463 in 2022, followed by Nova Scotia at $4,230 and New Brunswick at $3,691. In historical terms, the estimated $2,925 cost of waiting for treatment per patient in 2022 is 65% higher than the 2004 inflation-adjusted figure of $1,771. The Alberta election is coming up on May 29th, an election that will impact all of Canada, and there's absolutely no suspicious behavior from the NDP party. Yeah. Currently, there are 74 active wildfires in Alberta, and 20 of them are classified as out of control. NDP leader Rachel Notley has defended the fact that she was still campaigning during this crisis and blaming the fires on Premier Danielle Smith, while Smith paused her campaign while she visited the worst affected areas to see what the government could do to help. Some of the fires are the result of mismanagement of what were supposed to be controlled burns by a team of unqualified women firefighters who were hired under woke policies from the previous administration under Jason Kenney. There's nothing wrong with female firefighters, but poorly trained ones, hired under a woke agenda, who conveniently lost control of a burn during an extremely dry season, just as an election is coming up? Or am I the only one who finds that suspicious? Rachel Notley, who previously had Countersignal founder and reporter Cian Bexty removed from a press conference rather than face his questions about defunding the police during the worst wave of random violent crime the province has ever seen, has now gone one step further and had Bexty arrested, detained, and charged with trespassing for attending a press conference. Bexty's a reporter, and here I thought reporters were the people who were supposed to attend press conferences. Meanwhile, Danielle Smith has dedicated an extra $2 million for a special police task force to round up violent offenders with outstanding warrants to make the streets safer. And it was Rachel Notley who spouted off in 2021 in a public statement about her plan to enact door-to-door vaccination campaigns to pressure Albertans to take mRNA shots. Danielle Smith has already pushed for legislation that will make it illegal for employers to violate the bodily autonomy of their employees by requiring vaccinations, and illegal for schools to force children to wear masks. I think you can see where I'm going. The globalists have a long list of new violations to our rights and freedoms in store for us in their Agenda 2030 plan. When it comes, and it will, if Alberta stays free under Danielle Smith and the United Conservative Party, The province will be the control group that shows the draconian measures in the rest of the country for what they are. Nothing but totalitarianism under made-up excuses. So if Alberta stays free, people in other provinces will be able to point to that example when demanding that their provincial governments drop whatever dictatorial mandates they have in place, which will lead to a ripple effect that could well save our country. With that in mind, we're doing something to help. Recently, we created 6 Not Notley ads. Not ads that promote Smith and the UCP party. That would be highly inappropriate, as we're not affiliated with them and certainly don't have their permission to use their name. No, these ads simply tell Albertans to vote for anyone but Rachel Notley. Here's just one of them. Over 2/3 of Albertans are concerned about rising violent crime in our province. When NDP candidate Rhiannon Hoyle was running for Edmonton City Council, she said she supported freezing the Edmonton police budget. During the peak of the Defund the Police movement in 2020, NDP candidate Janice Irwin shared hashtag Defund the Police in an Instagram story. NDP candidate Raki Pancholi said she was all for spending less money on our criminal justice system. When NDP candidate Rob Miyashiro served as city councillor, he voted to reduce the Lethbridge police operating budget by $1 million. After 2 Edmonton police officers were murdered on duty recently, former NDP candidate and self-declared communist Carrie Clare tweeted, "Fuck the police."
On May 29th, vote for a safer Alberta. Vote for anyone but Rachel Notley and the NDP party. Paid for by strongandfreecanada.org.
We're paying to run these ads on Facebook, and we need your help. If you can donate to our ad fund, please go to strongandfreecanada.org, where you can view, download, and share all 6 ads and make a donation. If you can't help with a donation, please go to the site and share the ads, which you can do easily with just a few clicks. Even if you don't live in Alberta, you never know when an ad you shared will end up in front of Albertan voters. Help us save Alberta, and in so doing, help us save Canada. From Alberta to BC, British Columbia continues not only to be the most draconian province in Canada, but recently public health psychopath Bonnie Henry and Minister of Health Adrian Dix announced they were lifting COVID mandates, but also made it clear they will likely bring them back in the fall. They also announced their spring booster program for everyone over 6 months of age. Further, under Bill 36, which was passed last November, provincial health officer orders requiring healthcare system workers to be vaccinated remain in place to, quote, protect patients and healthcare workers and ensure the resilience of the healthcare system. Only 233 of the 645 clauses were discussed before they passed the bill, violating their own standing orders and the BC Constitution Act of 1996. This means the bill itself is illegal. But we live in Canada, where legislative process no longer matters. As a result of this act, currently in BC, the following rules apply. Rules which belong in a totalitarian state, not in what should be a democracy. Health officials may appoint henchmen with no qualifications and with no process required. Said henchmen may enter medical offices and clinics, conduct searches, and seize private medical records without a warrant. Only government appointees may sit on the boards of medical colleges and have the power to dictate healthcare services without legislative review. Public health officials may adopt and enforce regulation codes from foreign jurisdictions and international bodies, meaning the WHO, again, without legislative review. All formerly self-regulatory healthcare professions are now regulated by government, and all healthcare providers must be fully vaxxed. Of course, the meaning of that term can change at any time. Non-compliance with ministry mandates can carry fines up to $200,000 for individuals and $500,000 for corporations, and prison sentences up to 20 years. At the very least, Those found guilty of defying the dictatorship will lose their license to practice. In addition, there are fines up to $200,000 and/or imprisonment for up to 6 months for misleading information not in agreement with the government narrative. What constitutes false or misleading information may be defined by appointees at their discretion, absent consultation with health professionals. Please go to www.cssem.org and click the Hidden Healthcare Crisis SOS for a short documentary. Danielle Pastilli and Alicia Johnson, two mothers who wanted to help, brought together a number of fired healthcare professionals who refused the vaccinations in BC to tell their story. It is appropriate then that the largest Freedom Conference since last year's Freedom Convoy will take place in Victoria later this month. The Reclaiming Canada Conference, sponsored by We Unify, will run from May 26th to 28th and feature over 30 Freedom speakers, including Brian Peckford, John Carpe, Leighton Gray, Umar Sheikh, Kip Warner, John Rusted, leader of the BC Conservative Party, Dr. Stephen Malthouse, Dr. Stephen Pelech, Dr. William Mackus, and yours truly. In fact, I have the honor to be the first speaker at the conference. I'll be speaking Friday evening on the importance of independent media. My wife, Valerie, and I will be in attendance all 3 days. We'll have a table set up there. If you're going, please stop by and say hello. Last year's Reclaiming Canada Conference led to the formation of the National Citizens Inquiry. Since I started doing these news reports, I've been ending the members' version with humorous news from the world of the woke, the land that logic forgot. This week, I'm sharing one of those stories in the free version. A Pew Research survey earlier this year found that 63% of American men aged 18 to 29 are single. And by single, they mean not in a relationship of any kind. Well, at least not with a real person. The 23-year-old influencer Karen Marjorie has nearly 1.8 million Snapchat followers, and the artificial intelligence chatbot she created is called Karen AI. Users of the chatbot are charged $1 per minute. You can see where this is going. During the beta test, Marjorie made $70,000 in 1 week, and she believes it could generate $5 million a month once fully functional. Karen said she created the AI because it was impossible for her to keep in touch with all of her followers. Would it be impolitic of me to point out that what she calls followers, my generation called stalkers? Karen AI is engaging in sexually explicit conversations with her followers, despite Marjorie claiming it was not programmed to do so. Marjorie feels her AI might, quote, cure loneliness. Okay, but can it cure these guys of being hopeless losers? That's all for this week's free version of the Iron Will Report. If you want to help us spread the truth, please like and share this video. Social media algorithms promote content based upon how many likes and shares they get. So please take just a few moments to do that and help us share the truth with others. In this week's members version at ironwillreport.com, the Chinese government is already implementing CBDCs with an inspiring lack of enthusiasm from Chinese citizens. Canada's own CBDC future is very much in question as the Royal Canadian Mint tried a digital currency in 2012 and failed miserably. A wave of foreclosures is coming when interest rates rise. The government passes legislation that allows them to audit GST payments going back 3 decades. 10% of your Canada pension plan is invested in Chinese companies using slave labor. Trudeau responds to the US dropping air travel proof of vaccination by raising passenger taxes. European airlines are moving toward single pilot flights. Proof that Trudeau is planning to bring back vax mandates, and Bud Light is now being canceled by the woke. Due to temporary issues with my internet, I have only one interview coming out next week. Oleg Kuznetsov, the creator of the excellent 3D animation Beyond the Reset, the story of life in a COVID concentration camp, discusses the creative process and the 3 years it took to create it. The internet issue will get solved. In the meantime, I will be conducting in-person interviews with several of the speakers at the Reclaiming Canada Conference next weekend in Victoria, so expect those to be released in early June. Also, we're bringing Strong and Free Canada brochures to our distribution center in Victoria. We're driving out from Alberta. If you live near the number 1 highway anywhere between Calgary and Vancouver and would like brochures for distribution, Please send us an email at contact@strongandfreecanada.org so we can arrange to bring you brochures. Memberships at ironwillreport.com support our work at Strong and Free Canada to recover and defend our rights and freedoms. Get the truth that mainstream media won't report and our government doesn't want you to hear for just $9.95 per month with a 15-day free trial. I do not accept corporate or government funding in any form. Our efforts at ironwillreport.com to bring you the truth are entirely funded by our members. This is your guarantee that we're working for you. Help us to spread the truth and support our fight for our rights and freedoms. Sign up today for a 15-day free trial. Unsubscribe anytime in the first 15 days and you will not be charged. You are also not locked in and can cancel your subscription at any time.